welcome back to Real Life. I hope you're having a marvelous day. Thank you to all the subscribers and members. For you members, there's plenty of members-only videos to enjoy and more to come. Your support is appreciated. Today's episode is quite special. Rather than focusing on a specific event during a specific year, we're going to look at examples of work from one of Vernon's well-known and prolific 20th century photographers, Doug Kermode. Doug was born in Vernon in 1913. He received his education in Vernon elementary and secondary schools and followed his father's footsteps as an amateur photographer. Beginning as a freelance photographer in 1938, Doug honed his skills. In 1940, he worked for George Mears, another important early Vernon commercial photographer. Doug was primarily a photographer. However, he was often out and about with a 16mm film camera, capturing everyday but still amazing footage throughout the valley. He retired in 1982. On a personal note, as a teenager, I first met Doug in 1978. He was one of several photographers that influenced me to become a photographer myself a few years later. This first section of aerial cinematography was captured possibly over the Thompson Plateau. Though it may seem rather mundane, this footage was captured in 1938. Exactly where, I'm uncertain. Perhaps an eagle-eyed viewer may recognize the lakes and topography. What is truly remarkable is the footage over the city and landing at Vernon's first airport at what is now Vernon Military Camp at the Ball Diamonds. Pausing the footage and examining a little closer, we're flying north and looking east to East Hill. The courthouse is at the bottom right. Pleasant Valley Road is quite clear to see. There are only a few homes beyond 22nd Street. It's mostly just open land and small farms. 32nd Avenue becomes a dirt road just beyond 19th Street. Vernon's population at this time was a mere 5,000 people. Today, East Hill is fully developed with mature trees. We're landing at the airport, and Middleton Mountain is devoid of homes. Vernon Military Camp is 2 years away from being constructed. The airport was closed in 1939. If you find this footage fascinating, I invite you to view the 1931 reel of the opening of the airport on the Museum and Archive of Vernon's YouTube channel. These young women posing with apple blossoms was captured in 1946, possibly as a promotional film. There's not enough background detail or clues to determine which orchards this may be, but likely somewhere around Vernon. However, there is a possibility these women may be recognized. Captured in 1950, people lined the sidewalk for an unknown event or parade. A few of the signs in the background: Smith Hardware, Dodge Furniture, J.C. Newell Barrister and Solicitor. Doug's interest in Monashee Park is well known. This footage captured in 1960 takes in a flight onto Peters Lake. All the Kermode family, Molly Bealey, who is a phys ed teacher, and Patty Mackey, who donated the Mackey House and was part of the Vernon Preparatory School family, were on this trip. They located a food cache likely buried the season before and tried it out. Triway Air Services was operated by Doug McCall, who was the observed pilot, and his partner Chuck Fenwick. The float plane, a Cessna 180C, with registration Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey Lima, was delivered brand new to Triway in 1960 and is still in service and privately owned in Quebec. This would likely have been one of its earliest flights. This brief footage from 1969 is from the 50th anniversary of Captain Ernie Hoy's 1919 flight from Vancouver to Calgary via Vernon. A First World War veteran, Distinguished Flying Cross winner, and pioneer Canadian aviator, it was a significant moment in Vernon's history. Standing alongside Captain Hoy are Barry LaPointe and Barry Morris. You can watch a black and white extended version of this film on the Museum and Archive of Vernon's page as well. Here's a brief shot of a few parade floats for either the 1969 or 1970 Winter Carnival Parade. There's an unidentified Alice in Wonderland themed float, the City of Penticton's Pink Float, and the long-serving Kelowna International Regatta Float. A quiet and snowless winter Sunday morning downtown along 30th Avenue in 1962. Some of the stores and shops, Nick's Candy Kitchen, Nolan's Drugs, Household Finance, the Kalamalka Hotel, the Town Theatre, Allison Hotel. In the distance, the United Church on 27th can be seen. Sadly, it will be destroyed by fire in the mid-1980s. Doug captured this wonderful springtime apple blossom footage above Swan Lake in 1959 between Pleasant Valley Road and Harry Road at Vernon Orchards, which was part of the LNA Belgian-owned group. You can almost feel the warm sun and hear the birds in the distance. Later the same year, he captured afternoon fall footage at Kin Beach. However, the structure behind the trees is unfamiliar. Someone may have a recollection of its purpose. It looks like there was also a pier of some sorts. This scene was captured from Kidston Road, looking north towards Cal Beach and Middleton Mountain. It's remarkable how different a familiar location appears in pre-development state. Virtually no homes or structures of any kind, save the red-roofed house, which is, of course, the Mackey House. These 45 seconds of footage with an edge code of 1941 is intriguing. A parade of some sort coming down Barnard Avenue, now 30th Avenue. Notable that musicians from number 110 Canadian Army Basic Training Center, dressed in khaki summer uniform, are marching, possibly to Vernon Day's parade? This 1955 footage is quite charming. A wooden crate to a Mrs. A. Brown, Macintosh Girls Pipe Band, Box 664, Vernon, BC, Canada. Tartan skirts are a good guess, and it is indeed correct. The Macintosh Girls Pipe Band is another significant part of Vernon's history. This is why this footage is so important and valuable. It captures our history beautifully. Which of these ladies is Mrs. A. Brown? Adolph, or Dolph Brown, was a well-known Vernon business person and at the time a sponsor of the pipe band. Also captured in 1955 are members of the same Macintosh Girls Pipe Band disembarking from a Greyhound bus on a wintry day, complete with Stetsons. Perhaps they've just returned from Calgary, well known for presenting Stetsons to distinguished and deserving guests. What event had the band participated in? Clearly it was of some importance if Doug was there covering it. The band was well known for marching in parades across Western Canada throughout their tenure. Someone watching right now likely knows the whole story and may be able to identify some of the girls. 1955 was a prominent year for Vernon, with the Vernon Canadians defeating the Fort William Beavers for the Allen Cup. The Allen Cup is the trophy awarded annually to the senior ice hockey champions of Canada. It was donated by Sir Montague Allen of Montreal and has been competed for since 1909. Held in Kitchener, Ontario in 1955, this was the first ever cup win for the Vernon Canadians. They would win the cup again in 1959. The parade featured the BCD Cadets Girls Bugle Band, Sea, Army and Air Cadets, several floats, and of course, members of the hockey team with the Allen Cup aboard a Vernon Fire Department truck. These young men were proud to represent their city. With so many faces easily recognizable, some of you hockey fans may likely be able to put names to faces. On a beautiful spring day in 1957, children are taking part in May Day celebrations with a Mapole Dance in Polson Park. Maypole dances were sometimes done as part of Victoria Day. Sadly, the celebration has largely faded into history. This 1967 footage is a bit of a mystery to me. Heavy snow and enormous snowbanks, interesting architecture behind the snow, and in a mountainous region, possibly near Revelstoke or at Rogers Pass. I'm a little uncertain. This final segment is remarkable and is either Vernon Day's parade or VJ Day, as will become apparent from the clues. The various nations' flags, the banner with 8 years of hell to black out the rising sun, referencing the Second Sino-Japanese War from 1937 to 45. This is capturing history. This is why these old reels are so important and worth preserving. Doug Kermode committed himself to decades of camera work during his career. And it's only in recent years that it's truly being appreciated for its historical significance. This is some of the best and most tangible links to our collective past. I have been and continue to scour the valley for any of Doug's reels that likely are sitting forgotten in a corner of a closet or in a basement. Over the years, I've collected and preserved many of the 16mm reels. I've shared most of them with you and look forward to sharing many more. I'm merely the current custodian of these important reels, and I recognize the responsibility that comes with this. In time, these will go to the appropriate archives. I believe Doug may have shot color footage in 1937 or 38 of the British Columbia Dragoons training on horseback at the military camp for the last time. The horses would be traded for motorbikes and eventually tanks in just 3 years. Thank you to Dale Kermode for his generous collaboration on this worthwhile project. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button, subscribe, or even consider becoming a member. I look forward to producing more of these vintage episodes. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Be kind, and we'll see you next time on Real Life.